Okay, it's going.
There we go.
Alright, let's all start by opening up the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Not the charter?
Not the charter, the PowerPoint. We're gonna go over some of the things that we fixed today. We changed it from the bright blue, and we went to
Boring beige, I think
We
was
went-
the color it was called.
boring beige. Is
Yeah.
that what it was? Okay. The presentation, or like the PowerPoint so far, is pretty, I don't know, cut and dry, but I like the things that were done.
I think with this first slide, like, especially for time, I think we can, I guess, could just go through what we have. The first slide, I think we can probably get like a minute down with introductions and kind of explaining what we're gonna be doing. And then the second slide, I know it says, what makes a good presentation? And I think we need to explain how we're not going over what a presentation, like how to make a presentation from beginning to end, but we need to go over, and I know I've said this a couple times, but like little things, especially with obviously visual design. So like we need to go over how maybe to insert graphs and just like little stuff, what font to pick, and I don't know if we need to explain that too much in the second slide, just because we have kind of more in the body slides, I guess is what.
Yeah.
But I think we need to explain, like, the presentation is for, I don't know.
We're not gonna tell them how to make a presentation. We're not gonna say, like, you need this and this and this in your presentation for it to be a good presentation. We're
Yeah.
gonna say, after you put everything in, this is something that would make it a little more aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
Yeah.
And
What makes good visual designs?
And I don't know, I mean, obviously, I know it doesn't fit and look good, but I don't know if you guys think we should add what makes a good visual presentation, or
Well,
just
yeah,
what makes a
because
good
that's-
presentation.
because a presentation could be me standing in front
Yeah.
of you, telling you about
Mhm.
something. We're all about visual design. We're all about what's going on behind you as you're presenting.
And
And I think that's really important to say too. It's,
So should we have some design, like a few slides on like how to make a good visual PowerPoint, how to make a good like visual document, how to make a good visual charts, tables, stuff like that?
yeah, I think that's really important. I think like a visual document, like how to make a good visual
Mhm.
document, because there's a way of like making something and having a list, but it's still being out of control and it
Mhm.
looking out of control. And then you start adding little things to it, and pretty soon you've got something that's really clean cut. And I think that we need to really remember that we're talking to a group of engineers, and we're not talking to a group of like,
Yeah.
Marketers.
yeah, or somebody at a liberal arts college. Like,
Mhm.
we're not, everybody has kind of a similar way of thinking. We're all more cut and dry. We want things outlined. We want them in front of us. I don't want things to be beautiful and
There's a limit to how much prettiness you should make a visual.
yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like when I was talking to Nick on class last time, when I was asking him to put eye-catching for a good presentation, and we finally came up with a thing for, I guess we'd said visually pleasing.
Yeah, not eye candy.
Yeah, like you were saying, like don't like put a lot of artwork
Well, yeah,
and stuff
'cause
in
you
it, cause
can
you want to make a point, you don't really want them just to.
It can be beautiful and have butterflies flying all across
Yeah.
it, but we don't need that.
No,
It's
it takes away
unnecessary.
from the data.
What you're
Yeah,
trying
and
to
just
say.
like he was talking about in class, like unnecessary words
Yeah.
and unnecessary parts of a paper, it'd be the exact same thing.
And I suppose we could probably say that like in the first slide if we want. You don't want
Yeah.
eye candy, I
So
guess.
the first slide should be what is visual design?
Ooh, that's a really
Mm.
good idea.
That is.
So should I
To
change
get
it
it
to
to
what is
start out.
visual design?
Well,
Yeah.
don't change it. Let's just insert.
Let's
Insert
and
another
make a new
slide.
slide yet.
So we've got.
Alright.
Okay, and then as he's inserting the
messed
what
up.
is visual design, we
Yeah.
can move on to graphs and charts. I think that we can add a lot more about graphs and charts. And I'd like for it to behind us, like, I don't want our presentation to say very much, like he said.
Yeah.
we should say a lot.
Right. A general rule for like PowerPoints is you're supposed to have less than 15 words per slide on your slide. The rest should be stuff that you say.
Yeah. And
That
so
way they aren't just reading your whole thing.
our PowerPoint can be short and sweet, and we can have one thing on graphs and charts, but if we all have something to say about graphs and charts, but as long as we have something as a visual representation of everything that we say, then the class is going to connect it.
Right. So maybe we want to have a bullet point for each person, or maybe not like 4 per slides, maybe like 3 per slide, and only 3 people talk per slide. But
Yeah.
that way, everyone's talking a little bit per slide, and then.
I don't know if we should have maybe split it up to 2 people per slide even, or
Yeah.
one,
Well,
2 max.
Depends on
because-
how much information we have
I
for
would-
the
yeah.
slides. is
Because
gonna
on
be a lot.
graphs, we can put it onto
Well,
more than one slide,
Mhm.
but we're going to have a
Yeah.
lot to say about graphs. And, like, as long as we do have a lot to say, because 15 minutes doesn't go by super quickly when you're speaking.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was just thinking, in terms of like who we want to speak and things like that, I think, like Nick said, 1 to 2, just because like,
Any more than that per slide is.
'Cause then it'll be like a
especially when
popcorn effect.
you're
Yeah.
trying to do stuff like from not looking at it and not reading and not getting caught up. If you can, like, say, if I can do a couple slides on font or something like that, like what sans serif is versus just serif font.
Okay, can
I-
we go to that? We should talk about that too.
Yeah.
Because I think that this is a really good.
Yeah.
What he did here, showing like
On the
these
5th
2
slide.
fonts.
I-
We have an actual, it's from Wikipedia, so we can't be like, oh, it's super good. But it actually is just talking about something as simple as like a serif and what it does to your font. Like adding these little things and like what to look for when you're looking up fonts, because you have 100 fonts in front of you and nobody knows what they mean. You can see kind of a representation, but if it's like this one has a sans serif, like it's obviously not going to be as professional looking as just a serif, because we taught the class what a serif is, and like I never knew that until this PowerPoint.
Yeah, yeah. And
So maybe we want to find out what sans, like the prefix of those, define those. Are those in there?
Well, those are, we have a link to the website.
Okay.
yeah.
Right
So
under
I
here
mean,
in our
this
notes.
gives everything based on what it is simply, and then it explains what sans is, and then the serif is everything labeled in red. That it's a thing. So I think I'm actually going to put that into the PowerPoint, and obviously it's a picture that I'm putting in, but that only went 1. But there's more than remembering this one.
Also, we should break it up into, so we obviously talked about graphs, we obviously are going to talk about fonts. What else is really important?
How to design a PowerPoint.
Okay, so then that would be another, like,
Like I can talk about just PowerPoints.
Well, yeah.
okay, so we can
And-
start, I think it'd be a good idea to start with PowerPoint,
Okay.
and so start with the big picture and break it up into smaller. Do you like that idea, or would you rather start with smaller and build into bigger?
I feel like people pay attention more early, so bigger is better
Okay.
usually. Early, and then the smaller bits, as long as we keep it interesting, should keep their eye.
I think what's really going to add time is not only writing and bullet pointing about what we're talking about, but actually doing what we're talking about. So like on slide 4 with the graphs, it's got data about font, and we can get graphs about PowerPoints and stuff like that, but then we can also build the graphs, I guess, so to say, and we can talk about like I know on the bottom of slide 4 I said like I just got the thumbnail for the right one, but the left one I actually went in and got the file and saved it and then brought it over.
So we should talk about that, where
with-
you get your
yeah.
pictures, and how important that is to the clearness and the conciseness.
Because I know, I mean, on a small screen you can't really tell, but I can pretty much guarantee you might not be able to read the one on the right when it's actually blown up, just because it's so, I mean, I got it from a thumbnail.
And you're not gonna
So-
realize that.
Yeah.
And that's something that like is an easy mistake to make, because
Mhm.
you're putting things on your laptop and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, it's fine, it looks just like the other one. We have to think of the
Mhm.
quality of the photo and what it's gonna look like.
Colors of the graphs and things like that. I know this one, it matched the blue well, and I got it, you can change the depth of it and stuff, and it matched it really well, but, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I can't get it to match that, obviously, but like I said, I mean, it doesn't matter, but it's just one of those things you can talk about. I know that font slide that I had with that, we can put more towards the back, I think, of wrong things. Then you can we can make a slide of maybe a title slide or something that is full of wrong things, and you're like, okay, so you can see this font is way too big, way too silly, and not the right color, and the background is a bad color to begin with, and then have a graph, like I said here, that isn't inserted properly into the PowerPoint, and just have things, I mean, because we're pretty much doing a presentation or a PowerPoint about PowerPoint, so we can talk about,
Well,
not necessarily PowerPoints, but you know what I mean,
That'll be
we
one
can
topic.
reference our own PowerPoint without having to put a bullet point in for it, you know?
Mhm.
So,
So do we want to hyperlink things like in class when he presents? He kind of hyperlinks the website and pulls up articles and stuff.
We have some hyperlinks.
we could, but I
don't think it'd be necessary. That might pull away from what we're trying to.
think
it
what,
could
I
add
think
a
what
little
he
bit,
wants
but
us to
One
do
article.
is teach. There was an article.
Maybe not on articles, but hyperlink to a website where you can download fonts and stuff like that.
Oh.
Or to a place where you can have a large number of things on your screen instead of just being restricted to your PowerPoint,
Okay.
what's actually on the screen of your PowerPoint.
we could add a few slides of just the fonts though. We could say, yeah, we got this from this website as the first slide, and then go on to showing the different styles of fonts and how they appear.
But then we could, if we do it a hyperlink, that way we can talk about hyperlinks in the
Yeah.
PowerPoint.
That also helps because it adds more depth to our presentation. Because just with the PowerPoint is fine and everything would be fine. The depth of that, we want the extra mile to be well, let's show you. Not only are we going to tell you about all these fonts, but we're going to show you how to get to them.
do
That's why I think we should include it, but not necessarily.
well.
access it.
Also with I mean Word, Google, there's hundreds and hundreds of fonts. So I mean, you're really not going to ever have a problem with finding a font. It's
Yeah.
more picking the right one out of the hundreds of fonts that you find.
But it just adds to something.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
or maybe not necessarily for fonts, but if we add hyperlinks, or not things outside of the presentation, it really
Well, that's just
works.
to teach them about actually putting a hyperlink in.
Mhm.
And if we can work our way around everything that we might do in a presentation, then in our actual presentation, then it's going to help. And there's so many things you can do in a presentation.
Yeah.
And so it's the best to try and cover all of them because we have a long period of time that we have to
Yeah,
present this.
yeah, and I think we've got more than enough. I mean, right now we've kind of, especially what we have for the first half of it is just graphs and fonts and kind of how you should, I guess, visualize it. But I guess on the font side of things, should I make a slide for choosing the right font?
Yeah.
Because I know this slide kind of is based on just the sans serif versus serif, and whether you
Yeah.
want the serifs, how that changes whether it looks professional or not. So I suppose I could
Just
go
build off of it.
another one and do different fonts where it said not stupid, kind of bring that into a slide of its own.
Yeah, because that one's a bit aggressive.
Well, I also was trying to put humor in it. I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
trying to be
We
aggressive.
have to
but
have some humor to keep people. I think the best way to keep people interested is
Is
this
it
is a
fun?
boring topic.
Yeah.
We all know how to make presentations. Not all of them are great, but this is boring. And if we
Yeah.
can add something funny into it, then they
I think it will
pay
keep-
attention more. Because it's going to be really hard to present for 15 minutes looking into the crowd of people being oh my gosh,
Yeah.
So we use the different fonts to add stupid sentences. The dog.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean,
that'd be funny.
it
And,
only
some-
takes one bullet point in a slide to say not stupid and then explain for 3 minutes on what I mean by just saying not stupid. But you
That-
can also do your own slide about that and say different fonts and stuff like that and show how, I know she was talking to me earlier about maybe putting a quote from someone important and putting it in a bad font and making it, you're like, wow, that quote just looks stupid because it looks like some
Yeah.
40-year-old wrote it.
You can have a Martin Luther King Jr. quote and put it in a font, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, that looks like a cartoon quote," without even having to read it.
Yeah, yeah, like,
Or like that looks like I just got it off of my nephew's, like
mhm.
out of my nephew's book.
We could do a slide about quotes if you don't have a source like
So, talking
by
about the
Martin Luther
credibility.
King.
Yeah.
If you take that out and you make it look bad,
Nobody
then it
would
doesn't
know.
look credible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Yeah,
credibility,
credibility.
font defines credibility.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's really.
not
Oh,
defines,
okay,
but
yeah.
But then you can
increased.
also like that's when we can put in some humor, or like so we can have a really important, quote in a just terrible font, and then like a really stupid quote from somebody from a cartoon in a really important font,
Yeah,
and just like show, because what we see first, we're gonna see it,
and automatically think professional, unprofessional, and
and
switch
then
the,
we read it.
yeah, and
We judge it first, and then we read it.
I don't know what you guys think about a title, but choosing the right fonts, like, would that be a good
Well, I
title?
like font defines credibility, or font
Okay.
not defines it,
But-
but
Refines or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
emphasizes.
yeah.
Font emphasizes credibility.
Well, I think that
We're gonna
Might
need
not
to think of
be
a
the
different
right
name for it.
let's just have the first one be called font, and then build off of font. Just like the first one will be called graphing, building off of the
Okay.
graphing,
Yeah. We can change that
and then
too.
we can move on to. I think these are funny. That like on slide 7, that he doesn't actually like write a final point. But
Yeah.
I think that's funny. I don't know if that's like my dry.
Well, that's
humor.
what I was talking to about Alex, and I even wrote it in there on the slide 8. It was like, we're keeping this in the presentation. Like, this is a super important quote.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
that kind of goes along with the, like the fonts that we were just talking about.
Or
We can make it
credibility,
look-
like how
yeah.
you wrote this makes it look credible.
Yeah, yeah, and I,
It's a stupid quote because it's not even a quote. It
Yeah.
just said that it was important.
yeah,
But I think it's funny. I find it humorous that, and then you'll have like a picture, this funny like serious picture, and you're like, this is really important. But like
yeah,
that picture looks important. Like it
yeah.
looks.
Well,
like,
yeah, yeah, and
So we can talk about that, adding visual images like pictures to your
Mhm.
PowerPoint, and like connecting the picture with what you're saying. Like
yeah,
this is a picture of a dock. The final point could have nothing to do with the dock, but
Yeah.
it looks serious.
the way they built it is very professional, and I think even with stuff that has to do with what you're talking about, you can go on a way of unprofessionalism and not very important in terms of like if you, I don't know, like for the font, I don't really know if I like the 2 ABC things on the left, just because, I mean, it's pretty much telling you the same thing as the right one, but the right one is a little bit more descriptive. So I don't know if we want to keep both those pictures. Not that it matters, but I mean, I think it'll be
Yeah.
alright, I guess. I'll
We
just-
can-
Maybe.
Yeah,
It's a
we
bit
can
cluttered
work
right
on
now.
that. That's a lot. That is a
It's-
lot.
it's
And
cluttered.
really, because I took out the not stupid, I wanted to kind of fill it up with something. So,
I'd say
We
you
could-
can move the picture, the like thin and thin. We can place it somewhere on the side that it looks like it's taking up more room than it actually is.
like, I'm gonna see if I can see.
Like get rid of the ABCs and then put the thin.
Like that?
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
that
that
looks
looks
like
good.
it takes up a lot more room.
Because symmetry is something that humans love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Us as
it's
people.
aesthetically pleasing.
So,
It is.
I think we have enough for fonts. We should move on to our others main categories. So we'll have like PowerPoint format, which I'll talk about. We'll have fonts, which you'll talk about. And then maybe we want to have transitions, graphs, like on a paper design.
Okay.
So those are some other things we could talk
Yeah.
about.
And I don't know if we wanna put another slide in after graphing with
Right.
Mhm.
other stuff. I just,
So how about we just decide what we want our actual main categories other than fonts
If we're
and
gonna-
to be.
If we're gonna talk about graphs, are we gonna tell them how to label them too, as figures and tables?
Ooh, but yeah, I think
Mhm.
that we could.
And to make it, well, because there's a right way to do it, and then there's ways to look at nice, or make it look nice. And It's
Yeah.
supposed to be about the looking nice.
And I mean, with
That's
any
wrong.
of these, you can make a PowerPoint solely on graphic. You can have a PowerPoint solely on font. You can have a
So-
PowerPoint solely on.
Yeah, we can't get too in depth, but
What we should talk about is images, kind of. Maybe not images, but like reference images.
Okay.
Well, and
Um,
even like you said, images too would be. I mean, that's exactly what
you can
visual
add
design is.
something to the thing that has nothing to do with it,
Yeah.
but it adds. Just looking at that picture, it's not like it's somber and it's not super colorful, but it's just it took you to a serious.
So we could have one on charts,
Okay.
or maybe we'll go with graphs first. That will be like how to label. What else would we put on that slide?
That would be like bringing a graph in, like, okay, am I gonna do a thumbnail? Am I gonna download the file?
How to
Like,
make it look.
That would be a whole nother category, like how to import.
yeah, importing images.
Should we
and
talk
then
about
what
creating
other-
graphs too? Like how to make them
Like
not
on-
appear awful?
I think we can go a little bit more broad than just graphs. We could go like pie charts, and then we could go what other images you put in there, like
So we can have, so we don't have to actually, maybe it'd be too in depth if we got into making a graph, but just labeling a graph, like you said.
Mhm.
Like, it's one thing to go into Excel, enter your data, everything, and you make a graph. That's one thing, but then the labeling it is kind of what we're getting into, I think. Or like the colors to choose for your graph, all of that.
right. So we could have just like on one side we'll have just like a big picture of a graph, and we'll be like, notice how we labeled it on this side, and like where
Yeah.
everything is, the units are consistent, like all of that.
Okay, that's a really good idea.
I feel like we should talk about how different graphs look compared to each other. Like I think
The
if when I
same
see
data and
yeah,
can
in
we-
different
Yeah.
graphs.
I think that's a really good idea. The same data in two different graphs and how we would interpret it.
Because if I see something in a pie chart, I instantly think this is not even.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
and
take
think-
pie charts
And I think
seriously.
with such a big, I mean, 15 minutes is quite a bit for someone to come up with, and I know we're doing it as a group, but I think if you, like he said, if we want to choose certain slides that we want to speak, like maybe if you want to kind of make it your own, because I mean, no one else is gonna be talking, you kind of want to talk about certain things, so like, if I want to make another slide and obviously we can edit each slide and things like that, because I mean, if I do something that, like the blue, like if I do something that the rest of the group doesn't want, then we should edit for everyone. But I think we can add slides, like if Nick wants to add a pie chart and explain on how it may look not as good as, say, a bar graph or something like that, then,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should definitely add another slide, because I just don't wanna be at 13 minutes and we know we're at
Staring
13
at each
minutes
other.
and we're starting to really slow down and really, it's obvious that we're trying to make time. I think we can definitely go over.
If we're at that point, I feel like we should just stop. It looks better just to.
Well, yeah, I know, but I think we have enough
I
stuff
think that
that
we're
we
gonna
can
have
talk
enough to
about.
make
Right,
Yeah.
considering we're at 25 minutes now, and we've only talked about fonts and a little bit of charts.
Yeah.
So I think we want to give up on fonts. We have enough there. Maybe
Yeah.
talk about like what is Nick going to focus on. Walter's going to talk a little bit about images. I'll talk about like the first like things you want to do for formatting your
Mhm.
PowerPoint, and then maybe a few other
Okay.
head categories like that, and then everyone else can kind of fill those in on their own time a little bit. Could keep them a little bit before class on Thursday, and then I think we'll be good. So if we just want to find out some more head categories.
Okay. And then I think we should talk about the struggles of us creating our presentation, like as a group. Like,
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I think that would be really, and just like, yeah, we had blue on
Mhm.
black, and it,
Mhm.
and just like how important that was.
Right.
It's a totally different presentation looking at it now, just with changing the color.
Can
And
we?
then- yeah.
I don't know if we can do this in the Google thing, but can we implement different colors into different parts?
Yes.
Like fonts
Mhm.
or
We
could-
backgrounds or.
Like we could
We could
have one
definitely-
slide where it would just be like, this is black
is
on
how
blue,
it
and then, like
was.
this is no, like this is how like bad you can make it. Like if you do something like this, how like a little thing that looks normal on your computer screen, when you put it up on the projector, just absolutely destroys it. That might go up into like formatting or images.
And that'll
but-
be really important to show the same exact slide.
Mhm.
And then you're just like, But it's something that we easily make.
Right.
Like the mistakes
It's a
that
mistake
we
we
easily
made,
make.
yeah.
Because, like, we're younger, and we're always trying,
Mhm.
like, we think
Mhm.
things are cool that aren't actually cool. Like, we're trying to be cool, and it doesn't matter. We want to just present our data. We don't, like, it doesn't matter that it's, like, your favorite color, green.
Right.
I don't care if it's the color of your walls in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, it's not professional.
So what others on that category? What other struggles do we have besides that? Maybe we didn't necessarily make them, but there are other common ones.
Other common struggles. Well, just like the same with everything we're doing, we want it to look cool. Or like, if you're, I see a lot of times like people are like a hippier. Like I remember when I was in high school and I thought that I was a hippie and I was really cool and like all my fonts are like the hippie like
With the
bubbles
swirly
and yeah.
Comic Sans.
So you think that like it does not matter what your personality is. We don't care. You're doing an engineering presentation.
Okay.
Just know who you're presenting to, and I think that that should be a big thing that we talk about too.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Know
a slide.
your crowd.
At least one slide.
Because if we were presenting
Yeah.
this to a group of engineers, because we're all pretty much engineering, we're all STEM majors.
Yeah.
We're cut and dry. We want to see the stuff. I don't care about your butterflies and your favorite color. Like, present me the information, tell me in a clinical way, and then I'm good.
Except too much raw data will distract
Yes.
them too.
Not. We don't want just a bunch.
Right, that could go in yours.
Yeah.
Too much data.
Okay, so I say that we've gotten a really good handle on what we should do for the PowerPoint.
I think we need one more category because.
One more category?
Well, what's Nick gonna talk about? Looking at this
I'm gonna
right
be
here.
doing graphs.
I thought Molly was doing images.
Well, we can do.
Images are graphs too.
Yeah.
Well,
Just inputting the things. So we can have, but there's so much, like, okay, you're gonna talk about.
I'm gonna talk about like the
one
PowerPoint
slide,
format.
your fonts, I can do images. And then I think that it would be important, like Nick just talking about, like, who are you presenting to? Like, know your
Well,
crowd.
I think that would kind of go in mine. Is kind of what I was thinking about. Like,
know your crowd?
you would put like how many words you would put on. Like, if you're doing it like to younger kids, you wouldn't fill it with words like quotes and stuff. Or if you're doing it to like kind of just like stuff like that. So
That makes sense.
so that's
I think-
kind of
What
what
else
I
do
was
you
planning
feel
on
like would be
talking
really
about.
Well, I think there's a lot that each category can.
Overlap.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of overlap. But
that
I think
can
that we
be-
do need something else because we all need something that is our core to talk about. What do you, like, since Nick's thinking, like, it would be, what is
Would
the-
you feel okay talking about like transitions, like effects on slides, like, or could we just sum it up like don't do it?
Effects? It can be done, but
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Well, I also
It
think that
seems-
like I mean, it's kind of nice.
it's childish though too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
What do
I
you,
could talk a lot about how to label a graph, how to not actually put tons of information in the label.
Yeah, and
I
then
Okay,
we
so
put,
maybe
like,
we
those
break those
two
up
by
into
each
two.
other, like
Or
go from say
Yeah.
straight
And-
from.
And then Nick would be
And then-
graphs.
and
a
you
little
talk
bit.
a lot about, like, don't overdo information, and
Right.
adding information. So we could get you in more of, like, graphs, what you put in that is your data. Nick could be really strong, like, at the data suit, and then I could come in more as, like, the aesthetics of, put your image here, like, in the one, like,
Yeah.
in photography, how you break everything to 1/3, and you want, like, your focus to be on the bottom. Like, you want it to either be in one side, and then you keep your, like, 1/3 of it blank.
Okay, so I'd say we're good now as long as you two, while you're doing it, make sure you don't overlap. Again, we all have to make sure, but you two especially
And we will-
tend to do that a little
And-
bit, I think.
Well, I think also, I mean, it doesn't have to be one person talking for 3 straight slides. We can add certain things.
We'll do a group presentation together. Like,
Yeah.
And I think
we'll
one-
go into a building
yeah.
and we'll do it, and then we'll see how we all, like, how it all meshes and, like, the transitions of our voices and the transitions of, well, not voices, but. Okay, so let's go to the charter now, because I feel like we're getting to where we're kind of beating a dead horse on
Yeah.
this one. I'm,
Yeah, we're getting done, so.
so let's, Google Docs, charter.
I think I know in class with that first day when he brought up what he didn't want us to do and stuff like that, that he just started getting into it, where were you at in terms of, does he just want us to, I guess I didn't really understand what he meant, like in the book?
We followed the book's example and kind of elaborated on what the book was saying. He wants us to do an actual charter for our, as if we were meeting today,
Okay.
how it would go.
Okay. So,
So where I'm highlighted is where we stopped.
Figure out.
okay, so let's just start from the beginning. Is this the exact example from the book?
Presentation that outlines.
Oh, we're just doing
Uh,
it.
Visual, or,
Present about fonts? No.
no, designing visual information. Just from the top.
Oh, up there.
No, never, yeah.
We.
Never mind, because this is what he did for us.
That was our notes, and then as we go down.
Present about presentations. We're gonna make a presentation that outlines visual design of fonts. Okay, I'm gonna redo that. That's gonna be, I'm retyping that,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna say
I think this,
present.
the charter is pretty much explaining what we're doing, so I mean, I think it's very easy to confuse what we're saying with what the book said.
Yeah.
Because we are literally, essentially, presenting about a presentation. So I mean, a lot of what we will say about our presentation is also in the book. Like for what he says is we wrote down what is in the book, but I also think that most of this could work for our presentation.
You're getting this wrong.
Yes, okay, so, what it was I took the example from the book and just
Pasted it in.
pasted it in there, and it
Oh,
was like,
for the charter.
yes, for the charter.
Okay, I'm sorry. It must have been corrected then on the
Yeah.
top, because I literally just read the first part and I was like, that sounds pretty good about what we're doing.
Look down. Look over here. This is
I don't know where you're at.
where I'm
See
highlighting.
Molly.
I'm down below.
Okay, no, see, I didn't read that yet.
Yeah.
I haven't even read it yet, but I'm assuming it's probably exactly what the book says.
Except a little bit more elaborated, like what to do.
So, did you change this stuff, or did?
I was changing the top part.
Okay,
See,
'cause
and that's
when
where I thought, I was like,
Yeah.
if this was in the book, it sounds a lot like what
What we're doing.
Okay.
But that was only because it had already been changed.
So, are we good? Okay.
Or, no, we still have to talk about the charter.
Charter? Okay. So.
Okay,
what
so
do we
I'm just
wanna-
gonna say we're presenting on visual design and presentations, how to add data, images, quotes, and quotes effectively.
Do you just want to hyperlink the PowerPoint slide into that next bullet?
Oh, yeah.
Just copy and paste that. What link is there?
Fonts.
All right. So if we're doing the more presentation aspect, we won't really need to talk about documents.
Yeah, cause
Maybe
visual.
mention them, but
Yeah, we could mention documents towards the end on the end, like a visual presentation of a document.
Right.
Okay. Because this is present about visual design. Like our thing is presenting on visual design and presentations and documents. We can just add and documents.
we're gonna probably need to explain this works cited slide too. We're gonna need one.
Oh, we're excited.
Do we need one?
We're going to if we're
Okay.
gonna take images from online.
Oh, right. Oh, we are. Okay. So
So-
work slided, and we'll just see. Well, I'll just kind of like put ours in there, and then next time we meet, we'll figure out how to. So we'll want to have our own works cited, and then we'll want to have how to make one, or how to format one, kind of. And then we'll figure out who says what.
Does
with
anybody
that
have
next
an
time.
account for Noodle Tools?
I don't know what that
Yeah,
is.
but I don't remember what it is or
I don't
what
remember
it
mine
does.
either. It's a citing website. It's
Oh,
pretty
I
handy.
So can we just use EasyBib?
EasyBib works.
Or can we just? I
I
mean, it's
haven't
pretty
used
simple.
anything else,
if-
so I might
for
need some
a
help.
formal document like this to just put like where we got it, like the company we got it from, on there.
Well, if we get a bunch of random images too.
Yeah, I mean most of the stuff we'll have is just images, like so we'll just say image from this website, or if there's an author, put the image on there. We'll put that, and then I'll have one about how to actually create one.
So I think, as a final thing, what we need to do is Hold on.
Okay, I like the file name.
So we need to pretty much just go through, answer the charter on here. So I mean, that's pretty simple, just go through what you wrote and then explain what ours is. And that should, I mean, that's pretty simple, I think. I mean, we can all go through and I could start from the bottom and then just work up, and then when we meet, we're done. So just kind of explain what it's asking, say what we did and things like that. And then I think that's pretty much it, right? Because I mean, what it's saying now is like you said, it just says what's the problem while we write what we're doing, and then explain how we did that and things like that. So I think even like Molly's doing now, she's moving down and then just answering essentially what the question is.
Right.
So I mean, that pretty much explains how to complete the charter
Okay,
in terms
so
of meeting wise. I don't know.
just answer those last few questions and we'll
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah. And with that, I think the meeting, I think we know what we're doing. Good, Molly?
We're good.
Good leader?
Yeah.